You've heard about how to break bad habits. This video is all about how to break broke habits. And that is a play on words because broke habits really are bad habits. And I don't think that we realize that we get into this cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, week after week, month after month, year after year. And a lot of people do not realize that they're in this system because there are some bad habits that they have. I call these bad habits broke habits, where there are certain broke habits that may have got passed down from generation to generation. And in order to be financially successful, here's another play on words, you need to learn how to break those broke habits. If you do not learn how to break broke habits, then you will continue to live just in this perpetual lifestyle, a stage of living paycheck to paycheck. So, in this video, what we're going to talk about really is some habits that you may be having that can be causing you to be broke or live paycheck to paycheck. And we'll be talking about some ways that you can break these habits. Now, when I say broke, I'm not trying to be offensive, right? When I say broke, my definition of broke is that you do not have adequate savings, meaning that you do not have money saved up. And one thing I think about when I think about broke, I think about if your next paycheck did not come in, then what would happen to you? Would you be okay financially, or would everything that you have just collapse because you are dependent on that paycheck? Now, I know that there are different levels to broke. I grew up and we were on Section 8 and had government assisted housing, and we had food stamps and all of those things. And I know even with that, that there were people that were broke on a level even under where I was. I still had it pretty good. I was at the top of the broke scale growing up. But that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about broke. I'm talking about literally living paycheck to paycheck. I'm talking about you're waiting for your next paycheck before you can go and make a simple purchase that you want to make, or go on a trip, or do some things that you want to do. I'm talking about if you do not have money in your savings, or as much money as you need in your savings so that you can take care of an emergency. Some people are just one emergency away from being broke, where you're watching this video and you're thinking, I'm not broke, I'm doing good. And it's like, yeah, if your car broke down or if something major happened to your car, would you be okay? Or would you be in a really bad financial situation? If your home needed repair, if you had to miss work for 2 weeks or a month or even 2 months, right? Would you be able to financially recover, or would that be catastrophic for you? And so in this video, like I said, we're going to look at why people are broke, right? Why people have bad habits, or why people have broke habits, but we're not going to stay there. We're going to look at how you can actually break these habits. So diving in, let's look at there 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I'll say that again. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And the thought or belief for most people is that if you make a high income, that you're not living paycheck to paycheck. But that is really not the truth. There are a ton of people making six figures and more that are still living paycheck to paycheck. Our culture is just one that lives paycheck to paycheck. So someone may look good on the outside. You may see someone drive a nice car, a fancy car. You may see someone have a nice home, and you think, wow, they have it together financially. They're really doing good. They must be loaded, or they may have a lot of money. But really, they're just getting by the skin of their teeth, meaning that they're barely making it and they're barely getting by. And so that's where you could ask yourself, are you a part of the 78% of Americans that's living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that you're looking for your next paycheck before you can make financial decisions? And if that next paycheck doesn't come, that you'll be in a lot of trouble? Or are you in that 22% of Americans that have an adequate amount of money saved up for an emergency? So if something bad happens, they can land on their feet and they can run. The good news is that if you're in the 78%, that we're going to help you get over to that 22% of not living paycheck to paycheck. And the simple answer of not living paycheck to paycheck or not being broke is literally to save money. I know people that no matter how much money you give them, they're going to live paycheck to paycheck. They're not going to save any money. Why? Because it's not about how much money they have. It is about the habits that they have that they are managing that money with. So a lot of people feel like, oh, if I just got a raise, oh, if I just got a promotion, oh, if I just had a little bit more money, then I would be doing good. I'm living paycheck to paycheck because I don't get paid enough. And I want you to increase your income and I want you to get paid more. But at the same time, I want you to learn how to manage what it is that you have. The Bible talks about those who are faithful with little can be entrusted with much, and those who are not faithful with little cannot be entrusted with much, which in simple terms just means make sure you do the best with what you have. Don't just focus on what it is that you don't have. So 78% of Americans live in paycheck to paycheck, 22% of Americans not living paycheck to paycheck, and we're going to help you to be able to go to that 22%. So let's break down bad habit number one or broke habit number one. The first broke habit is to not gain financial education, to not have financial literacy, to not know how money works, and to just continue not knowing. One thing that people talk about is they talk about the financial gap. But I believe that there's not only a financial gap between people who are rich and people who are poor, and people who are doing really well and successful with money and people who are really struggling. But I think there's a knowledge of wealth gap where some people do not even have the clue of how to gain more money, how to increase their income, and what to do next. There are some millionaires that if you stripped away all their money, gave them nothing, and started them off with $100, they would turn around and become a millionaire again because they have learned certain principles and habits, and no matter where you put them, they can make things happen and they can get a lot of money. On the flip side, there are some people where no matter how much money you give them, after a certain amount of time, they could win a lottery or whatever. After a certain amount of time, they're going to be broke again because it's not about how much money they had or how much money they received, but they just do not know how to manage that money. So when you're looking at financial education, the National Financial Educators Council took a survey and found that 83% of Americans wish they had more knowledge about personal finance when they were adults, meaning that they did not get the education that they wanted or needed about financial literacy. So it's not taught in most schools around America, do not teach about finances. I know that I have two masters and a doctorate degree. I have never had a class at school about personal finance. In the same way, many people are not taught about personal finance in their home, partially because some people have a hard time passing down the information that they have or the knowledge that they have. And the other reason is people cannot pass down what they don't know, right? So if you're in a household who are who you have parents that are not wise financially, wise with their resources, then how are you going to turn around and be wise with your resources? And then what happens is it's not only that we have a lack of education about finances, but we picked up bad habits along the way. So watching our friends, family members, the community we grow up in, even friends that we talk to on a daily basis, seeing how they move and the decisions that they make financially. All of these can contribute to us having poor financial education. The good thing is that we're in the information age where there is information overload and you can learn a whole lot. You can go on YouTube and you can learn just about anything. You can go on Google and now they have AI where you can ask AI questions. But what's vital and important is that you really learn about money. When you learn about money, that teaches you about business, it teaches you about investments, it teaches you about so many things that help you to be able to get your money to make money. And when you're financially illiterate, people will literally take advantage of you with financial services because you do not know any better. Just like people talk bad about used car salesmen, or they feel like, oh, they're just trying to get that car sold no matter what, no matter how bad your credit is, no matter how bad that car is for you, they're just trying to get that car sold. In the same way, a lot of financial services that people offer or tell you about, and savings plan and investing plans, many of them are getting compensated off of your decision. And so they are not giving you all the facts. And if you do not have financial literacy, you'll turn around and you'll make wrong decisions and bad decisions. But when you have financial literacy, you'll know how to help your money grow exponentially. And so if you're looking to learn more about finances and resources, this is the channel for you. I have a ton of videos about everything related to personal finance. So make sure that you keep on watching. The more you watch, the more you learn about money, the more you'll learn how to increase your income. Whether you're an employee, a manager, a leader, or a business owner, you will learn how to be more productive, how to attract income. You'll learn how to save more money, not spend on unnecessary things. And you will also learn how to invest and grow your money exponentially. So, lack of financial education is one. What's the solution and the remedy? The solution is we have never lived, there has never been a better time to learn. You have so much access to free resources to learn more about money and finances, then you can go and do that. I have my book, Make Money Make Sense. That's on Amazon. If you want to go and purchase that, that'll help teach you as well. But I really want you to just do whatever you can, whether it's reading, whether it's watching YouTube, whatever it is that you can to increase your financial literacy. And I guarantee that by continuing to increase your financial literacy, it's going to bring more and more money to you. It's going to exponentially grow over time. And not only will it help you, you'll be able to help your friends, your family members, and you'll be able to support them as well. So you want to make sure you have that education. Then, in addition to that, another reason why people are broke financially or people have broke habits is because people have poor spending habits. There was a study done by the Ascent where it talks about how 40% of Americans spend more than half of their income on non essential spending, meaning they're spending their money on things that they don't even need. They're not even an essential. And what this study doesn't talk about is how we spend more money on the things we think we need, right? How you can buy food at the grocery store for cheap. You get you some eggs and rice and make it stretch. But instead, what we do is we spend a lot more money on food than we should. We buy a more expensive car than we should. We buy a bigger home than what we need. And so, in addition to non essential spending, we're spending more money on essential things than we need to spend. Whereas you can eat a meal at your home for $5. Instead, what you want to do is buy something out to eat, and then you want to DoorDash it, and then you have to tip the DoorDasher. So you end up paying 30, $35 for something, $20 for something when you could have ate for $5. And when you do that every day, for a week, for a month, for a year, it adds up to thousands of dollars that you could have saved and invested into your future. So, one of the reasons that people have poor habits is because we have poor spending habits. We're in a culture right now where you can just go on your phone and you can buy anything. You can ship it to your house. You don't even have to get out your bed or off your couch, and it'll be there in a couple days. So everyone who buys impulsively, this is something that's hard and challenging for them to get over, and to be able to go and do better, just because you can easily buy so many things. But what you have to do is you have to learn how to get your spending under control. One way that you do this is by having a budget. It's funny that a lot of people will talk about, oh, I don't know where all my money is going. I don't know where all my money is going. And I can say, well, do you have a budget? And they'll say, no, I don't have a budget. Well, how are you going to know where all your money is going if you don't have a budget? And so I encourage you to actually write a budget. Many people, when they listen to financial information, they hear things, but they don't want to put it into practice. This is one that I don't want you to hear and do nothing about. It's very simple, but it'll have life changing and transformative effects. I want you to write a budget. When you write a budget, you know where your money is going. I want you to look over your expenses, look over your bank statements, check your receipts, see where you're spending your money. And I want you to see how you can save more money, because once you stop spending money on things you don't need to be spending on, now we're talking about additional money to save and invest for your financial future. So a lot of people feel like, oh, I want to raise, I want to raise, I want to raise. If you just stop spending money frivolously, right, then what can happen is it's just like getting a pay raise, because you'll have more money in your pocket to do the things that you need to do. So a lot of people feel like you only live once. I need to treat myself now. I deserve this. I understand all of that. But those are poor habits that's been placed into you to make you think that way. Instead, I want you to prioritize your future, prioritize saving, and prioritize investing. Another reason that a lot of people are broke is because of debt. Let's talk about credit card debt. If you will not pay off your credit card in full every month, don't buy that item. Credit cards companies way too much interest, way too much money. You end up paying double, triple, quadruple, 10 times the amount. You buy something for $100 on a credit card, and you end up spending $300 trying to pay it off. So stop putting things on credit cards, all the discounts and the savings. That's just to trap you so that they could get you to pay a ton of money in interest. The only reason you should use a credit card is if you swipe it and then you pay it off in full as soon as it hits your account. That's the only reason you should use a credit card for. So stay away from debt for those car loans. Don't get high interest debt on your car loans. Don't pay too much money for a car. I know people pay 50, 60, $70,000 for a car because they say, oh, I don't want my car to break down. It's like you could have bought 10 cars at the $10,000 cars at the price you paid for this one car. So don't let fear force you into making a poor, bad financial decision either. Don't spend too much on education. If you're going for a degree that's not going to pay you a lot of money, don't go and pull out a lot of student loans. A lot of people pulling out thousands of thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for student loans only to get a degree in a field where they're not going to get paid much more than minimum wage. Don't waste your time with that. It is not good for you. So you really need to go and manage your debt. When you get a home, don't buy more house than that you should buy. Buy a house that allows you to still be able to save and invest. And another reason that we're going to dive into that people have poor spending habits, and I know you all thought this was going to be one number one, and that is because of stagnant wages. Wages have not increased. Wages have steadily it's not increasing at the same rate as inflation is increasing in. So inflation is moving at a much higher rate, a much faster pace than wages are increasing, meaning that people are not making enough money, people are not making a ton of money, and so it is hard. And so the good thing about this is that you can make more money, right? There's not a cap on how much you can make. There's not a limit on how much you can make. Broke mentality or broke thought will make you think there's nothing that I can do to get ahead financially. But what we need to do is that we need to have a mentality of abundance that knows that you can get ahead financially, you can make more financially. You can have a successful business. You can get a raise. You can get a promotion. You can get that job you were thinking about or wanting. You just have to believe it. You have to pray. You have to do the work, get the education, get the experience, and go for it. Don't be afraid to switch lanes and change what you are doing. If it is not working for you, then don't continue working on it. You stay in that job until you get your next one, but always be looking for what you can do to increase your income. There's so much money out there. There are millionaires on any field you can think of. There are people making tens of thousands of dollars each and every day. The only thing stopping you from getting more financial resources, more money, is the information that you have inside of here. So the more we learn about finances, the more we learn about resources, the more we learn about money, the more we are able to go and earn and demand and learn how the world works. And so with that, I hope you enjoy this live. If you enjoyed it, then watch the other videos which are on this channel, which are all about financial literacy to be able to help you to invest, to save, to budget, to have a financial plan, vision, goals, all of that and above. Thanks for watching.